What's up, y'all? I feel like it's been a minute because my dedication to myself, to the world, is to do a video every day, and then, you know, things come through, my boring day comes through, and, you know, this, that, and the other, and here I am. So, peace, people, what's up? Those are my outfits for today. My name is Anoushka D'souza. I'm a meditation integration coach, philosopher, poet, multidimensional being, as we all are, and have many beautiful talents that I rechannel this beautiful magnitude of energy that I have and infinitely create. So I come on here on YouTube and drop the wisdom transmitting from the cosmos, from the base of my spine, through my heart, and out my message center. And that is I've learned that from the Tao. And so I've been really grateful to be able to study the Tao. Today we're going to be talking about death. Ah, yes, I love talking about death. And I think people who appreciate talking about death generally have a really great appreciation for life. You can't have one without the other. You cannot have one without the other. Yes, that is so true. So that's why I love talking about it. I have a beautiful appreciation for my life, for life in general, for existence. And so death naturally just is a part of it. It's the black and the white, right? It's the yin to the yang. And so, yeah, that's what's going to be about today. So we're going to start with, what does dying mean? Like, what does it mean to die? I feel like the word die has... dying has this really dense energy to it, can be, and I feel like in the general context that this understanding of dying has really like untold story, because that's what it is, right? After we die, there is no turning back, or so we think, from this perspective at least. So I googled what to die is, and I got it's a synonym, it's perish, mean to relinquish life. To die is to cease to live from any cause or circumstance. It is used to say that we are expired, to pass from physical life. So in that aspect, death, the word death in itself, aside from being used figuratively, means that existence is ended, that there's no more. It is no more. And so I'd like to dive deeper into that. What does that mean and how that plays into our role? I will start by, as a young kid, I would always think about death. I would have constant thoughts about, what if I drink a bottle of Clorox? I don't even know if this is normal. I don't care. I feel like it's healthy to have conversations like this, because we all go through thoughts like this in our own head. So, what if I ran in front of a car and I got hit, and things like that? Like, I would always, like, death would be very prevalent in my thoughts. And I think part of it is because I wanted to end my life to have purpose, because I didn't have a purpose. And I also wanted to be able to get attention from people, and so dying was one of the ways that I thought of that would be able to get attention from. And so it's a really dense topic, and definitely want to have conversations like this more so we can talk about death. Yes, I'm gonna write that. Like, imagine I had an event just on death. That's gonna be sick. I'm gonna fucking do it. You're invited. So with that knowledge, I went into university and I was in philosophy, and man, perfect program for me. So I took a class that was like just on death. We talked about abortion. We talked about suicide. We talked about a lot of stuff, and we really got into it. And me allowing myself to dive so deep into what ending a life means, ending my life, ending existence, really allowed me to put perspective into how I see the world. I have a very macro and micro aspect. Like, I can see so many layers at the same time, that I can see, like, if you draw one image, I can see multitude of images, like, at once, right? So, I really appreciated it. It allowed me to just dive deeper into what I thought death was, and think about, like, Heidegger talks about this. Existentialism is one of my favorite fields of philosophy as well. And he talks about Dasein and the death, the being, and we create our life, we set our life up in a way where we understand that there's a death and a finish. there's a beginning and an end. Just like the word life journey, just like everything that we interact with knows it's in place, knowing that we have a death and a finish. And so it's a very interesting concept of how we interrelate with life and understanding, knowing that we're going to be dead at one point, coming out the womb. And coming out the womb in itself is a death and rebirth experience. And so if you want to hear more about the death and rebirth experience, I'm not going to talk about it too much because I do have a video. It's about death and rebirth that exists everywhere and anywhere, and how that does, and what are some journal prompts I suggest as well to like get more clear on what that looks like. So that's on another video. Check it out. Let me know what you think. Like, comment. I want to hear what y'all have to say about this. Let's like have some healthy convo. So now I'm in university, have this thorough understanding of death and appreciating my life more. It really allowed me to go to the pinnacle of my fears. Really allowed to go to the pinnacle of my fears. And so I want to ask you, please grab a pen and paper. This is going to be a few journal prompts that we're going to be sharing. I do this all the time, and allowing us to have conversations like this, you're energetically being upgraded. So thank you for showing up for yourself and receiving the message. How do you feel about death? Like, write death and like think about the first write death and think about the like few words that come up, and then start writing on it. Let it flow and be like, I would say like half a page to a page. Like, let it out. Like, let's let it out and see what comes for you. Like, where's your being? Where's your subconscious mind exists in relation to your experience of someone else dying, of death, of pets dying, of waking up and going to sleep, and that's a death process as well. Particularly, we're just going to focus on what does it mean to die, and how does that feel for you? What comes up? What memories come up? What sensations in your body are being triggered or awakened as you're writing about death? Just be very wary of that. And so what does it mean to die for you, right? And I would love to hear what you think about that and share your information and your 2 cents. The next topic is that the death experience is very interesting because it can be painful when there's a close being, right? And it does allow us to, it's like we have this attachment to people and beings. So when they do leave or pass away, that it's really sharp. And so I'm going to ask you to encourage you to write your next prompt is, if someone that you care about were to die, how would that experience feel like? And, you know, we usually don't really talk about this stuff in real life, and we're like, oh, God forbid, let's talk about it. Like, but I feel like, let's talk about it so you're able to heal better. I know people who call death upon themselves, and I love that I'm bringing this up because that's a thing that we could do. When we suffer so much internally and our body is like overdriving, I'm just grabbing my boobs because I feel like it, we will literally work ourselves to death. We will literally push ourselves to it, or call upon it when we don't want to live no more, when we feel like we need to end our life. And we can call it in, and it can be something that we will to have. And so having conversations again like this is important. So what would that feel like? How would you experience that? Like, I know it's hard for some to not be in the situation, but you know, normalizing it, and the experience that death and rebirth happen all the time. And sometimes some people leave the world earlier, and some people maybe later. And it's part of the cycle of experience, part of the cycle of who we are as human beings. And, you know, sometimes the fear to die can stop us from acting in our life, right? Because we want to do something, but like social suicide, which is death as well, is a thing. And if that, like, I know a lot of people who will like won't even come to that barrier of breaking that suicide, that social suicide barrier, because it will literally hurt them and kill them. And so, you know, let's shine some light there. Let's shine some light in cobwebs. Like we know all these things, and it's like I'm shining some. I'm like ghostbustering this stuff. And speaking of ghostbustering, I was having a conversation with a friend last night. And I was supposed to do this video two to 3 days ago, but so important. And I was like not forcing it. And I was like, you know what, I'll do it at the right time. And so I'm doing it right now, and I had a beautiful experience I want to share. And a friend was, you know, he's like, oh, I thought I saw something there, like in the nighttime. And I'm like, oh, that's a depi, which is ghost in patois. And he's like, oh, I don't want to talk about this. Like, like he got really freaked out. He's like, I don't want this to be the last thing I talk about. And I'm like, relax. Like, you're getting nervous. Like, I felt this energy, like, and it's just like, hold on. We're not talking about evil spirits here. We're talking about ghosts, people who have passed from the earth life and are into something else, or in between limbo. And that's just a presumption of what I have, or what scope I have dived into the truth of. There could be a whole multitude of different understandings of what death means, right? And so that's why we're having this conversation. And so I want to ask you, how do you feel about ghosts? And let's think about, like, I'm going to do a video just on ghosts, but let's talk about just the death part of ghosts, okay? And what that looks like. Like, it's the afterlife, right? It's the unknown that we're scared of because we can't see it. And that's what's really freaky. And so knowing the power of our will, knowing the power of we can control what can come around us, allows us to be aware of what kind of spirits be around us. Yes, that's a thing. So this is my topic on death. Let me see if there's any other prompts that I want us to share. What's your perfect death scenario? This is my perfect death scenario. My perfect death scenario, it might get me teary-eyed. I'm like 200 years old. I have my lineage, my empire, my babies, my babies' babies, my babies' babies, babies, all surrounding me. And I'm in this beautiful celebration for me. And it's a celebration of life. And that's what death is to me. That's how I define it. A celebration of life. And so I'm going to ask you, like we said already, what death means and what's your perfect death scenario. And so that would be mine. Big warehouse party, every room something different, like good flow of everything. Like, we're just loving the vibes, and like buffet, vegan, idol food, like barbecue, everything eco-friendly. And that's how I'd pass away, with my family, like not just blood family, but my soul tribe. But more so, I see like my great grandkids, and I'm like almost getting teary-eyed. My great grandkids, and like my children, who I've taught so much, and I passed on so much to, with my partner, and yeah, it's just gonna be a beautiful experience. I'm like tearing up. So that is my perfect death scenario. And really just knowing that I cleared my karma for this lifetime, and really just showed up for myself. And that's what it was, because I broke this contract of rejection into abundance. And if you're interested in more about that, I post a video, it's down there, re-signing a contract from rejection that I kept coming back and redoing to abundance, which is what I'm doing right now. And this is the work. So, and fully executing. Well, you saw that like cover, because it's a lot of heart stuff that I'm talking about. So thank you so much. So let me just see. We talked about dying, death, reincarnation, healthy conversation about death. What does it mean to die? So one thing I just want to touch upon, it is already a 15-minute video, but you know, this is some juicy shit, boo-boos. Have you ever had a near-death experience? And so I've had a near-death experience when I was a baby, and I came out the womb and I went straight to the emergency, and because I didn't have blood. blood or something like that. And I think like that was an interesting experience to come out the womb like that, like rushing and in like this like chaotic, like, oh my gosh, this person might die experience, and then come to life and live like this. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. And reminding myself in that memory of I died and I came back to life, like, is so magical to me. So thank you so much for listening. I'm definitely going to pose one last question is, have you ever had a near-death experience? What does that feel like? And what did that teach you? And a death experience with another, you know, if that wound hasn't been healed, like the missing, you know, sometimes we can miss a physical presence, but not like earn it and like pull on the idea of his past or their past. I said his, but I said it's past. And so I always call upon my ancestors of this lifetime, particularly because I never grew up around my grandpa and mom on my dad's side, and my grandpa on my real grandpa on my mom's side. And so I call upon their energy all the time to really just familiarize myself with my roots, who I am. And it's really done so much and supporting me as a person and really feeling supported and calling upon that internal energy of support. So thank you so much. Namaste. I have Akashic Record sessions and a 1-year coaching program as well. It's so beautiful. It's unlimited Voxer coaching, voice audio coaching, and you get 4 sessions a month, and you get meditations as well. So I'm there with you, present, when it's happy times, sad times, growing times, and really shifting from the negative patterns to patterns that's really uplifting you and growing at a continuous way. And so it's not just one-offs that you're fixing, but you're looking at the whole picture and really changing your life for the better. So namaste. Thank you so much. Blessings.